You could use some obedience training.
All right. So we're in the trenches. Monday night, AFC South. We're going to go through AFC South, Jaguars, Colts, Tennessee Titans, and we're going to go straight into it, start from the bottom. Jacksonville Jaguars. Coach Kelly, what do you think the Jaguars will end up doing this year? How do you see it playing out?
I don't see the Jaguars doing too much for us this year. Gardner Minshew. This year he is a definite starter in Jacksonville. He has no fantasy relevance in fantasy football, so that means he's probably not going to be a productive quarterback. Vegas has the over and under set at 5 wins for Jacksonville Jaguars. I have the Jaguars at somewhere about 3-12 maybe for the season. It's not going to look good for the Jaguars this year. Leonard Fournette, contract year, a long history of injuries. So we just have to see what the Jaguars have in store for us.
Yeah, I agree. The Leonard Fournette is probably the best player, even though with the injury history, we did see his capability as a running back and how good he was when he was healthy, and how much of a force on the field he is when he is healthy and playing. It's very important for the Jaguars to keep him healthy first and keep him on the field. Now, Minshew, his numbers weren't bad. Is he the guy going forward? I don't know. But he did have 21 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. His problem was that he got sacked 33 times. And it's like Ryan Tannehill, we'll get to him later on. You can't expect a quarterback to be successful if he's on the ground all the time. You know, they have to fix their offensive line. They have a lot of rebuilding to do in that particular team. Now, they did have good news for the Jaguars. It just happened a few hours ago, was that there was a contract for Johnny. Remind me how to say his name. Sorry.
Yannick Ngakoue.
So there is a contract. There was a situation where he was holding out, or he wanted to leave, or whatever the case was. He wanted a lot of money. The Jaguars didn't meet with him, but it is official that there is a contract on the table for him to sign. With that being said, Box, give me your box. Who is going to be successful? Who do you like? Who do you not like in this team?
Well, like we talked about earlier, I am the box, and now we're going to talk about who checks the box and who doesn't check the box. When it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the guy who checks the box for me is Yannick Ngakoue. The reason is he has been in the league 4 years. He's never had less than 8 sacks. He's got 37.5 sacks in 4 years. He's a tremendous pass rusher. He's only 24 years old, which is why they had to franchise him, which is why the Miami Dolphins were trying to get him, because he's a young, but he wants to get paid, top dollar. This is his big contract. Apparently now they finally resolved that he was holding out, but he's the team that, he's the guy that makes that team go, that defense go. And he's the guy that, for me, checks the box. Now, as far as, yes, their offensive line has always been a problem. Through the draft, they unfortunately lost Jalen Ramsey through trade, but they were able to get an extra first-round pick. In the draft, they had a pretty damn good draft as far as, name talent coming out of college. They got C.J. Henderson to replace him, the cornerback out of Florida. They got who I think is the rookie that checks the box for me, because I really, really like this guy. And Coach and I have talked a lot about the football factory that is LSU. K'Lavon Chaisson, the defensive end out of LSU. He's a little bit on the small side, has to bulk up, but he's got speed off the corner to high hell. And if you can put him on the other side of Ngakoue, you have 2 young bookend pass rushers that could really make that defense go. Also, in this, aside from that, to add to that, in the second round, they got the receiver out of Colorado named Laviska Shenault, great receiver, a lot of potential. He's a really good pro prospect. And even in the third round for that defense, they got a defensive tackle from Ohio State named Devon Hamilton. So their first 4 picks could all be hits and really good hits for that team that really needs help. I mean, this is a team that people, I mean, with a very, very short memory, 2.5 years ago, this team was a half away from the Super Bowl. They had the Patriots down in Foxborough. But of course, it was a guy named Blake Bortles leading them. So I mean, let's be honest, they weren't going to get there. But anyway,
why does everyone talk so much shit about Blake Bortles? I actually liked
hey,
him.
listen, I know he's a UCF guy. As a matter of fact, my sister went to UCF when he was there, so I know a lot about Blake Bortles, and I actually liked him, but he wasn't the guy. Now the thing is, the guy that doesn't check the box for me, unfortunately, and not that I dislike him, but like you said, is Gardner Minshew. And the reason is I just don't think he's the guy. At the end of the day, I think he is a placeholder. And I hate to say it because I like the kid. He's got he's got moxie. He's got it, man. He's got the flair. He's all about that position. You know, he's a modern day Joe Namath. But he is. I'm waiting for him to come out in a fur coat for some reason. But the thing is, he's just. I don't think ultimately he's the guy. I think he's a good placeholder while they're rebuilding that team, and I think if they hit on these draft picks going forward, they can do something. This year, I got to go with Coach, and I got to go with Vegas. You know, last year they were 6-10. This year, honestly, I see them at 4 or 5 wins, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into the stretch, and their stretch is it's hard to choose because it's not, and we keep saying that it's not an easy division. Not any division is easy, but in some particular divisions like this one, we have a few teams that are either A, playoff bound, or B, they're going to be in the mix. So they're in a division where at least 3 of those teams you could say could make the division, could make the playoffs and go far in the playoffs, or they're going to be fighting for a wildcard spot. So in their case, their stretch is 8 games, pretty much half the season. It's the later half. It's going to be at Packers, the Steelers, the Browns, the Vikings, Titans, Ravens, Bears, and the Colts. Fournette has to dominate. The way all 3 of us are looking at it is that Fournette has to stay healthy, and the offensive line really has to be able to control the game to allow Minshew some room to be a decent quarterback, because they don't have the guy. If they don't have the guy, they have to kind of like Ryan Tannehill. You know, technically we made the playoffs with Ryan Tannehill. I know it was Matt Moore, but we made it. So they have to protect Minshew, keep him off his back, and keep Fournette healthy, more importantly. And that is pretty much the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have a hell of a second half. They're in a hell of a division, and they have way too many question marks to say that they're going to do anything more than maybe 3 or 4 games. So, Kelly, you said what was the spread on it?
The Jaguars are on the clock.
That's the spread. The Jaguars.
The Jaguars are on the clock.
Oh man, they're gonna hate you in Jacksonville, man. You're so close to it too.
Oh boy. Oh
the,
boy,
the,
that was rough.
the over and under is set at 5, and like I said earlier, I think 3 games out of their season they could pull it out. Too many holes on defense. Like Bach said, they got very strong rookies coming in, but I mean, it's just those household names like AJ Bouye, Calais Campbell, Marcel Darius. I mean, those are some stud players that they have to replace. So, unfortunately for Jacksonville this season, but you all are on the clock.
Lawrence, I see you in Jacksonville next year. Good luck. And that being said, us Dolphin fans, we like to drool and dream about the Houston Texans losing every single game because we need it. But we'll get into the Houston Texans. I think the Colts are going to be better than they were last year, which is pretty scary. And the Titans were that playoff team where you're like, oh, what are the Titans doing? Oh, my God. And they upset a few guys in the playoffs. So Houston Texans, they did acquire some pretty good players, but they lost is he the best receiver in the league, it's hard to say that he's not the best receiver in the league. I don't know if you can't replace a guy like that. And that's the problem, is that it's not about the name, but it's about what he does for a team. He was the leader of the team. In and out of that locker room, he was the Houston Texans, other than J.J. Watt. But it was pretty much Hopkins' team. He is gone. Deshaun Watson now has Randall Cobb. He has Brandon Cooks, and he has David Johnson that won me a few dollars in my Keepers League. But then I traded, thankfully, and he hasn't done anything since that year. Coach Kelly, tell me what do you see from this offense with a talent like Deshaun Watson, who we see it week in and week out in the NFL? What can this team realistically expect from the Houston Texans this year?
In today's NFL, it's any given Sunday. They can possibly have a big game. Deshaun Watson has proven to everyone that he can throw 300-400-yard games, 4, 5, 6 touchdown games. That's nothing. Deshaun Watson, he's a great athlete. But the tough schedule they have, it includes the Chiefs, Ravens, Steelers, Vikings, Packers. For Houston, that's a very tough schedule. The way it's looking for Coach Bill O'Brien in Houston, this year might be his last season. Vegas has the line set at 7.5. I'm taking the under all day with Houston. I think they're going to finish at about 5-11.
Every Dolphin fan in the background was like, one game, please.
Right. So I'm saying 5-11, but like you say, Chef, if it's a one-win season, I'm happy too.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just what I'm really hoping with like you said, the stretch is the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Steelers, Vikings, Jaguars, Titans. It's the first game. It's the first six games of the season. So what I'm hoping happens is that the wheels fall off the bus real quick, and nothing is happening with the Texans this year. But Box, tell me, and it's probably Deshaun Watson. I'm gonna throw that out there, but. Try not to use him, and tell me who checks your box and who does not check your box, man.
Well, unfortunately, there's no way around it. You see, if I'm the box and there is a box, Deshaun Watson doesn't just check the box. He obliterates the box. He threads the needle through the box. He puts the football through the box, and then he runs around the box and breaks a tackle from the box. Deshaun Watson is God, and I'm going to tell you right now, every Houston Texans fan better be very, very nervous, because after what Bill O'Brien has done in the last year and a half to that team, he may be on his way out. And if you lose Deshaun Watson, I mean, you're losing, the Dolphins losing Marino, the Packers losing Rodgers. You're losing your God. Deshaun Watson to me is, I love that kid in college. I've never seen a kid in college literally take Alabama on by his damn self. You couldn't beat him, but he took him on by his damn self. And then the next year he did it again, and he actually beat him. And ever since he was a rookie, obviously he had an injury, and I think it was his first or second year. That really, really hurt him. But I think Deshaun Watson is the reason the Dolphins didn't have a top 10 pick, because of the greatest trade in Miami Dolphins history and the worst trade in Houston Texans history, which I'll get to later. The person who doesn't check my box, which is Coach Bill O'Brien. But Deshaun Watson is I think he's a supreme talent.
He is an absolute beast.
He is a quarterback. He is an athlete. He is a rule breaker. He is a game breaker. He is an everything. And he is the reason that team could, with help, without help, win 5 games, or crazily enough, they could win 9 games. They could win 10 games only on Deshaun Watson, because he's that good. Now, however, the person who doesn't check my box, Bill O'Brien, not only obliterated that team with giving the Miami Dolphins a hell of a haul for the Laramie Tunsil trade, because you gave up basically 2 1s, 2 2s. It was astronomical what he gave up, a 4th, for basically Laramie Tunsil. And I liked Tunsil when he was here. There's no way in hell you're going to tell me that guy's worth $22 million. I'm sorry, he's not. And then to trade away you traded away Hopkins. He was your number, other than Deshaun Watson, he was your offense. He made your run. He's a receiver, and he made your running game.
Look, I don't mean to interrupt you, but don't even get me started with Kenny Stills.
You know,
Here in Miami, look, Kenny Stills is a talented receiver. He's good, but he's not worth anything near what the Dolphins got for him. That's ridiculous to even say that, to even think about that. I don't know the ins and outs of football, but you're going to tell me that we got that much for those two players?
Listen,
right now. Right
there's
now.
there's a story that Laramie Tunsil, with the day he found out he was traded, he walked into the office and he looked up at the board and he saw the trade and he goes, "You know what? I'd trade myself for that too." It's a true story. I'm not kidding. It's a true story. He actually said that, and I believe it because it was an amazing haul. It was right now. That is the crown jewel of not to get off the Texans, but it is the crown jewel of Chris Greer's career. That is the greatest trade in Dolphins history. What they do with it obviously will matter, going forward, especially this year and next year, and how they hit on picks. But it was an amazing trade. Now, Bill O'Brien, man, he is. I mean, the seat could not get hotter. I live in Miami. I'm in 96-degree weather. Bill O'Brien right now is hotter than I am because he is on a hot seat that is hotter than hell. If he does not get that team to the playoffs, maybe to the AFC title game, he's gone. He's gone, and they're pissed on top of that because, I mean, he had a team that get year in, year out, even though J.J. Watt can't stay healthy to save his life, they had a solid defense. Their line is horrible, but yet Deshaun Watson still gets around that. They had no running game. Deshaun Watson gets around that. And then you trade Hopkins. I don't understand. I really don't understand. As far as the rookie that checks my thing, unfortunately they didn't really have a good draft because they gave us their picks. Anyway, the guy that I like.
Any Houston Texans fan right now is about to turn off the episode and go, fuck you all.
They hate me, but it's the truth. Anyway, there's a guy that they drafted out of TCU named Ross Blacklock. He's a defensive tackle. He's an athletic guy. He could really help that defensive line, especially considering the fact that Watt can't stay healthy. If they can get Watt healthy for a full season, I mean, he's got 3 Defensive Player of the Years. If he can add some muscle to that defensive line, and hopefully Watt can stay healthy, they can keep that team in games and hopefully win a few games. Hopefully they don't, for the Dolphins' sake. But anyway, for the Houston Texans fans, hopefully they'll do it. I personally, unbiasedly speaking, I personally see them 5 wins, maybe 6, even with Deshaun Watson trying to carry that team on his back. I just think Bill O'Brien left them way too many holes.
I agree. Now, I do want to try to get into the mind of a coach, right? So you let go of a guy like Hopkins. You pretty much, we've bashed O'Brien as hard as we can. So let's try to give him a little bit of a shining light at the end, if you want to say. Randall Cobb is not a bad receiver. Brandon Cooks is not a bad receiver. Are they number ones? No, not by any means. And David Johnson did at one point show that he might be the best running back in the league. Coach Kelly, do you think with everything we just bashed the Texans on, can you see this offense actually try to produce something and win a few more games than we're predicting? And, I don't want to say win the division, but do you see a shining light at the end for the Houston Texans fans?
With the players that they received, I see the players being used as a bridge to other players. I cannot see long-term Randall Cobb being the receiver in Houston. Their running back, David Johnson, he showed some very good potential in Arizona. Yes.
Right now. Right. We're going to go right into the Tennessee Titans Ryan Tannehill contract. We're all Dolphin fans. We all know what he's capable of, what he's not capable of, because we see it. We've seen it. Coach, Ryan Tannehill, give me something, because I don't know what to say about the guy. He got a ridiculous contract, which good for him. Very happy for him. But boy, oh boy, the Titans fuck up with that one.
Thank you, Tennessee Titans, for adding more zeros to Ryan Tannehill's bank account, because you will not get any performance like what you looked up and had last season on him. Derrick Henry had a great year. He carried that team. He carried that team all the way until he can't carry that team no more. And it's very unfortunate because Derrick Henry, he's not going to be as effective this year. With running the ball. So which in turn it'll put more pressure on Ryan Tannehill to make those plays. And we all know what happens when Ryan Tannehill is pressured to make plays. He throws deep balls 10 yards past the receiver. He can't throw no outs, no ends. He can't. He won't even be able to hit a running back in the flats. So the pressure will be on Ryan Tannehill. They'll look for him to step up, but Tannehill, he'll fail in all critical situations for the Tennessee Titans this season. But with that being said, the Titans will be competitive in their conference. Vegas has an over/under of 8-5. I see them possibly winning 9 games in the season. So 9-7 for the Tennessee Titans. But don't look for no great performance from Ryan Tannehill or Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I agree. They're gonna have to be carried by their defense, which was spectacular last season. They did lose a few guys, and today they lost. I wouldn't say lost because it's a non-injury thing, but Vic Beasley was put into the non-injury list. So that's another hit that the Titans are gonna have to deal with. Now, Clowney is one of the free agents available. I don't know if there's actual talks with the Titans, but he is predicted maybe to end up in the Tennessee Titans to help out that defense and help out Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. Their stretch is week 9 through 12. They get the Colts twice, which are 2 division games, regardless if it's in Tennessee or in Indianapolis, are 2 very tough games, and it can make or break that season. Then in between that, they get the Ravens and the Browns, which is by far the hardest stretch on their schedule. And Box, tell me who checks the mark, who does not check the mark. Give me your boxes.
Well, the person who checks the box for me, just because I absolutely love him, because I'm a big guy and I love big backs, is Derrick Henry. Any guy who in this day and age, how the NFL has gotten so far away from running backs and running the ball consistently, as far as, one back carrying everything. Now everything is like, 2 or 3 backs or whatever, running back by committee. Derrick Henry had 1,500 yards and 16 touchdowns last year and almost carried that entire squad to the Super Bowl pretty much on his own. Yes, I will talk about Ryan Tannehill in a second. But I think Derrick Henry is the guy that this year, I think they're going to take a step back because they did lose their right tackle, Jack Conklin, to the Browns. And that offensive line is very, very good, and he could run really, really well behind it. But now they have in their draft, the first round pick was a guy named Isaiah Wilson out of Georgia, who I really, really liked. He was a right tackle. He's the guy who's going to try to step up for Conklin. I think he's a really good pick. It just remains to be seen how fast he can acclimate to being the starting right tackle. I think his numbers are going to suffer, like Coach said, just a little bit, which is why I don't think they're getting back to the AFC Championship game. But they're still I think they're still a playoff team. They're a wild card team. And with a guy like Derrick Henry, they can wear a team down in the playoffs and give teams trouble. But he's the guy who definitely checks my box. As far as rookies go, Isaiah Wilson was a great pick. The guy that I think, again, we're going back to the factory, their second round pick was a kid named Christian Fulton out of LSU, cornerback. Kid is dynamite. I mean, he's got all the makings of a shutdown corner, and that defense played really well last year. They're pretty much on the outs with Logan Ryan. They need somebody to come in and really fill that hole. Christian, as much as I like Isaiah Wilson, he could step in for Conklin. Christian Fulton is really the guy that to get him in the second round. He was a mid-first round talent. He's the guy that really checks my box, and I think he's the guy who of all their draft picks could be the star rookie that goes forward. Now, and I'm going to try to be unbiased here. The guy who does not check my box is a guy by the name of Ryan Tannehill. Let me start by saying that I don't dislike Ryan Tannehill. I'm happy as hell for the guy. Anybody who's given $200 million plus contracts while being an average, yes, I'm sorry, he's an average quarterback. He's not above average. He's not stellar, and he sure as hell is not the league's best passer. Now, yes, if you put him in a running game,
hold on. Who told you that he's the league's best passer?
statistically, he led the league in passer rating last year.
Stop it. I'm done with numbers. Go on.
Well,
please.
hey, statistically,
Never again will I look at numbers.
statistically, he led the league in passer rating last year.
Yeah.
I think it's a hoax, but hey, that's neither here nor there.
Well, maybe tomorrow I'll go play for the Jaguars and lead the league in passing yards.
Well, you know, you have to step over Gardner Minshew. That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ryan Tannehill, he just got a 4-year, $118 million extension with $62 million guaranteed on top of the fact that he already had a $100 million contract for the Dolphins. Now, he led them to the AFC Championship game, you know, obviously on the backs of Derrick Henry. But, you know, Dolphin fans might hate me because there's a lot of Dolphin fans who still want him to do well. And he's a great guy. He is an exceptional human being, you know, family guy, always been great with the media, tremendous, upstanding individual. You know, he as far as that, he deserves it. Now, I don't think he's ever going to be the guy to get you to a Super Bowl. I sure as hell don't think he's a guy that can ever win you a Super Bowl, because if you shut down Derrick Henry and he's got to be the guy to win the game for you, he's already shown he can't do that. He can get you through a season. He can make he's gonna have a couple of good, nice games for you, and just, you know, kind of do the right things, not make too many mistakes, and get you to 10, 11 wins. But you got to put a lot of stuff around him. Whenever I hear the excuse of, oh, well, you know, if you put enough stuff around him, he's a great quarterback. Well, you know, if my grandma had balls, she'd be grandpa. You know, listen, if you put enough talent around anybody, they could win a Super Bowl too. You know, hell, Brad Johnson won a Super Bowl. So, I mean, what does that say? Now, I think the Tennessee Titans can challenge for the division because I love Mike Vrabel as a coach. You know, he's got that team ready to go. I think Derrick Henry can have a good year. They can win 9 or 10 games. They're going to be maybe a wild card team. They're going to make some noise in the divisional playoff. I don't think they're getting back to the AFC title game. But they're still, hey, listen, at the end of the day, they're still a very tough team to be reckoned with because they're very well coached. They're very tough. They run the ball like hell, you know, and as long as Tannehill's not you don't put the game on his back, you know, they can give a team a hell of a lot of trouble in the playoffs.
Yeah, like the Titans will go as far as Ryan Tannehill can take them per se, you know, and I don't mean that by having a lot of yards. I don't mean that by being a spectacular quarterback. What I mean is for him making the third down passes that he has to make, all that stuff. I love Ryan Tannehill. I liked him when he was in Miami, and no matter what anyone said, I swear I thought he was the next coming of Dan Marino, just because I never saw anything else.
Wow, you're young, man. You really haven't been around a lot, have you?
Yeah. I'm that guy. I'll be that guy. I'll be that guy.
Right.
Ryan Tannehill is a great human being. I am extremely happy for him making the contract because for all the times that he was on his back in Miami, he deserves it. So good for him. Now, how far can the Titans get? We'll see. We talked about Houston. We talked about their offense. Maybe Deshaun Watson really is that good. And maybe Houston could overtake Tennessee for second place in the division. But they have the formula that you need to win. They have a defense. You can control the clock and just keep Ryan Tannehill controlled. Don't make him be this Drew Brees type of quarterback. Let him control the game. If they could do that, they're going to win some games. And they're going to win quite a few games to make it into the playoffs. And let's say that they get the Chiefs again or they get the Bills. It's playoff football, and you never know. But for now, make it there. But we do not trust Ryan Tannehill. We don't think he's anything spectacular because he's not, and he's proven it to us Dolphin fans. And that's Tennessee Titans talk. We're going to go straight from one quarterback to the next quarterback, which is a new boy in town, even though he's a grown-ass man in the NFL. Phillip Rivers, the Colts, Coach Kelly. Me personally, I'm very excited to watch Phillip Rivers. I know everyone's saying that his arm is dead, this and that. He's an old guy. Yeah, I know, Bucks. We'll get to you after. Coach Kelly. give me what do you see in the Colts? T.Y. Hilton, Phillip Rivers, Pittman Jr. They also got Jonathan
Taylor.
Taylor. Sorry,
Taylor.
and he just turned off the episode too. Coach Kelly, tell me what you see about the Colts.
The Colts, the Colts have a team where I think every team needs to start. That's with the offensive line, and their offensive line finished third in offensive line rating. So I mean, for Phillip Rivers to be a veteran quarterback, that's what he needs to be the field general that he can be out there during the game. It's going to be a solid rotation with the running backs between Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor. I think the two of them together is a good 1-2 punch in Indy. They added Xavier Rhodes on the defense. The defense was pretty stout as it was, and to add Xavier Rhodes, I mean, it's a plus in that secondary.
Absolutely. Rhodes from the Vikings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he comes from a school of thought with Mike Zimmer, and I love Mike Zimmer's defensive schemes. Mm-hmm. So I mean, he's a great person. He's a great player, but I think the Colts finished like seventh. They were seventh in 100-yard rushing games, and they was 10th in takeaways. So look for the Colts to shut teams down, get them frustrated, make turnovers, and probably score off of defense also. Vegas has the over-under set at 8.5 for the Colts.
That's an easy over. There's no way they. Yeah. It's an easy over.
It's at plus 135. So I'm taking the Colts all day. You know, I have them down to win maybe 11 games.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's free money. That's the free money play of the year right there.
Yeah. And once again, we're not telling you to go bet your money. You do what you will. But that's an easy bet. Go steal Vegas's money. Coach Kelly, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
You're fine. You're fine. We all have a disclaimer, but just for you all to know, that's what I'll be doing. I'll be going with the Colts, and I'm going with the Colts for plus 140 to win the AFC South. So definitely take those picks, take those plays, and do what you need to do.
I'm very excited to watch Pittman Jr. next to T.Y. Hilton. I know T.Y. Hilton's kind of hurt and this and that. There's contract talk, but he's going to play according to what I read today. So I'm just very excited for T.Y. I saw the guy play in college. I was in the FIU marching band tonight. Shout out to the Golden Panthers. He's a great guy. He's a great person. Amazing talent on the field. On and off the field, he's exactly what you look for in a football player. And I'm just very happy that he is in a team that can maybe go into a playoffs and push for an AFC title game, maybe a Super Bowl. You never know. But I think they're in that spot where you don't know how good they are going to be. So we all have them winning the division. I think a lot of people have the Colts winning the division. But we'll get to the boxes. Box. Who checks it? Who doesn't check it? And here comes fucking negative Nancy with the bad Phillip Rivers talk. I already know. Here it comes.
Actually, before I get to Phillip Rivers, I'm going to say something. I was not born in Miami, but I was practically raised here. And when you're raised a Miami Hurricane and you're raised to like the Miami Hurricanes from the mid 80s, you're raised to despise Notre Dame.
Oh,
you have to hate Notre Dame.
Yes.
You need to hate Notre Dame.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to tell you something right now. As much as I might have been, raised and taught to hate Notre Dame, the guy that checks the box for me and has done so ever since I've seen him play in college, and
keep going.
And did it on draft day is Quentin Nelson.
Yes.
Quentin Nelson, to me, I was there on draft day, and I told my buddy, I wish the Dolphins could trade up to get this guy. And my friend said, are you crazy? Why the hell would you take a guard in the top 6? I go, let me tell you something about Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson is going to redefine that line. He's going to be an all-pro, and he's going to be a future Hall of Famer. Remember, I said it. He's like, you're crazy. Well, he's 2 years in. He's a first-team All-Pro both years. He's a first-team Pro Bowler both years. And furthermore, I don't just think he's the best offensive guard in football. I think he's the best offensive lineman in football. He's that good. Unfortunately, he's from Notre Dame, but hey, we got to forgive him for that. He has literally transformed that entire offensive line. They added a couple of more pieces. And even though he's not the center, he's basically their left guard. He's the guy. He is the tough guy. He's great. He's a great run blocker. He's a great pass blocker. He's made the running game better. He's made their passing game better. He's made that offensive line better, tougher. He's durable as hell. I mean, that guy literally takes massive hits and he has not missed a snap. He is, I want 5 of those guys for the Dolphins. Just clone him somehow.
I don't know if 5 of those guys exist, but we'll try to find them.
He's that good. That's the guy to me that checks the box for the Colts. And going forward, not only have they bettered their offensive line and their pass protection and their running game, but going into this year, now that they got Phillip Rivers, they're going to have to protect him. Phillip Rivers is toward the end of his career. You need to keep him upright, which I know they'll do. So for him to do whatever he can try to pull off. And the rookie that checks my box that I really like, because I liked him in college, is Jonathan Taylor, second rounder out of Wisconsin. Now, a lot of people said, well, the problem with him, Wisconsin ran the ball a lot. He's got a lot of mileage, a lot of mileage on the tires, a lot of carries. This guy is a beast. As a matter of fact, as much as I like Marlon Mack and as much as they're going to be a 1-2 punch, I would not be surprised if Jonathan Taylor is going to be the first and starting running back. If not by the end of this year, by the beginning of next year. I think he's going to overtake Marlon Mack. I think he's that good. Now, the guy who does not check the box for me. Before I say why he doesn't check the box for me, let me say one thing. If fate played a different hand, Phillip Rivers would own 2 Super Bowl rings, because let's be honest. He was originally drafted by the New York Giants at number 6, but Eli Manning decided he doesn't want to play in San Diego, and he told his daddy he doesn't want to play in San Diego, so he forced a trade. So he goes to the New York Giants. He wins 2 Super Bowls behind 2 of the worst, the most crazy catches of all time.
The helmet catch.
Yeah, the helmet catch. And that could
By
have
the
been
way, short little story. I twisted my ankle on that Super Bowl day because I was playing football. And I watched it with crutches. Hardcore fan here, right?
Oh, Lord.
Go Giants over the Patriots all day.
But anyway, that could have been Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers had an amazing career. I think overall he's a better quarterback than Eli Manning, but Eli Manning's going to have the rings, at the end of the day. Now, Phillip Rivers, I saw him play last year in a Monday night game, and as much as I like him and as much as I've liked him throughout his career, I kind of have to believe that his arm might be a little shot. So if they're going to go far, and I think they will, I think they're going to win the division, they have to kind of ask Phillip Rivers to, I don't know, for lack of a better word, be Tom Brady-esque in the sense of he's got to try that short passing game. T.Y.'s got the speed to take it down the field. You can't ask Phillip Rivers to throw bombs anymore. His arm cannot get it there. He showed it that Monday night. There was a Monday night game last year against the Chiefs. He had a chance to bring that team back 3 times. He threw 3 duck interceptions. They literally died halfway there. I don't think he's got the arm anymore. He doesn't check my box, but if they learn how to work around that, and they can because they have enough talent on offense, he can get them not only to win the division, but this team can make some noise in the playoffs because they have a tremendous defense. They have a tremendous offense, probably one of the best offensive lines in football. And with the right leadership, they can make some noise in the playoffs. Because at the end of the day, their coach is a guy by the name of Frank Reich, who owns not only the greatest comeback in NFL history, thanks Houston Oilers, but also the greatest comeback in college history when he played for Maryland. So he knows about comebacks. He's won a title with the Eagles. He knows how to win. He can get this team far. But at the end of the day, I think their undoing is going to be Phillip Rivers.
Well, I guess, yeah. He's old, and there's nothing else you can say about it. He is an old quarterback. He's been in the league for a very long time. He's been very exciting to watch. He's had a few good teams, and he's played with a few good players around him. But this is really the year where he could really make it a push for the Super Bowl, and I'm very excited to watch Phillip Rivers. In my opinion, man, let's put numbers and all this aside. Philip Rivers has been a staple quarterback in the NFL for years and years and years. Has made the Chargers who they are, and that's why the Chargers are pretty much rebuilding, because you're losing a career quarterback. I'm very excited to watch Ty. I'm very excited to watch Philip Rivers, and let's see what the Colts could do in the playoffs, because I think everyone agrees that they will be in the playoffs. And that being said, that is the AFC North. Box South, AFC South. Don't listen to me. AFC South. Fox, do you have anything else?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. I know that, hopefully, you guys listen to us from everywhere, but anybody who's listening to the show in Miami, if you're in the Miami area, especially the South Miami area, I want to send a shout out and a plug to my boy Al. He owns a place named Express Subs and Pasta. We're going to put it on the screen. They're at 10,000, whatever. We'll give you the address. They're on Miller Drive and 100th Street, and 100th Avenue. They basically sell the greatest subs, the greatest pasta, and the healthiest food you're ever gonna eat. They have a chicken vaca frita. For those of you that don't know what vaca frita is, it's basically shredded. They make it out of beef, and it's basically shredded beef, but this is made out of chicken, so it's a lot healthier, and you don't have to have that red meat. Tremendous food. Ask for Al. And they're available also through DoorDash, Postmates, and Uber Eats. But we're gonna put his information on the screen. But we want to give him a shout out because he's always playing our podcast. He's a big fan of the show. We love him. Thank you, Al, and go see him. Tremendous food.
Hell yeah! Big shout out to him, Coach Kelly. Do you have anything to add for the AFC South?
The AFC South is another interesting conference. Like we agree, the Colts are probably the best team, but Houston, Tennessee, you can't count them guys out.
Yeah, it's going to be a very fun division to watch. A lot of new players in the division. There are a lot of exciting players to watch in this division. That being said, that is AFC South in the trenches. Please like, subscribe, comment below. We are going to have shirts coming up soon. Comment, maybe you'll win one of those shirts, and maybe I'll make some vaca frita and show you on screen. Good night, guys.
Good night.